how you doing? And welcome to another video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about, is it a good idea to be a lease purchase operator? Got some interesting views on this, so stick around. So first of all, I'm gonna start off this video by saying that not all of the lease purchase deals are a bad deal. What I am going to say is those are very few and very far between, and you should be highly educated in order to read and understand the contract thoroughly. And if you're not, which I'm probably certainly not, I would say if you're considering this, get the contract, take it to a lawyer, and have them look at it and make sure that they okay it first. But in this video, I'm gonna be talking about the majority, so let's get into it. First of all, is lease purchasing a truck a good idea? And the short answer, no. Don't ever lease purchase, don't ever get into that. It'll work for a few people, but only a few people. And the few people are the people that have extremely low bills and don't have high obligations. Other than that, you need to be able to work a lot in order to make the lease purchase work for you. Now, I have a very dear friend of mine, I talk to him almost daily. He's in a lease purchase deal, but his situation fits ideally for this lease purchase. So, you know, I still don't necessarily recommend it for him, but it is better than the alternative of being a company driver. So let's talk about the pros first. What are the pros to being a lease purchase operator? Well, it's going to be a little bit more money than being a company driver. Certainly some company driver situations, but yes, you are going to make a little bit more money. The thing is, the caveat is, as long as the truck doesn't break down. And a lot of the lease purchase maintenance contracts, they suck. They're not very good. You know, I don't care what anybody says, taking a 40,000 or a 50,000 mile oil change is just asinine. I mean, unless you're running full synthetic AMS oil and you have an oil bypass filtration sensor on, I mean, that's the only way that you might get away with it. But in general, you're not. And these manufacturer recommendations, I laugh at people that say that they run that. You know, maybe you don't have a problem with it. Sure, maybe it doesn't break down. But what you're doing is you're building carbon in your engine, and you're going to cause that truck to fail. You're gonna need to rebuild it much, much sooner than it actually needs to be. You know, there's a reason why the older engines they were 1 million mile engines, 1.2 million mile engines before they actually needed to be rebuilt. And that's because the DEF system was not on the truck. There's no DPF system on the truck, as well as the owner-operators just took way better care of them. If you went over 15,000 miles back in the day, beyond, you know, or you went over 15,000 miles before you got an oil change, you were considered an idiot. So, you know, that's just, to say that a truck can go 50,000 miles, you know, without needing an oil change is just, it's ridiculous. You know, technology has not come that far. I don't care what anybody says. Don't try to argue with me down in the comments below, because I'm not hearing it. I'm just probably gonna delete your comment, because I don't want you putting that kind of knowledge out to other people. It's ridiculous, it's asinine, you should know better, so just don't do it. But, you know, one of the other pros that comes with being a lease purchase operator is you get to understand how to operate as an owner-operator without actually being an owner-operator. Yes, that's what I said. I said that. If you're a lease purchase operator, you are not an owner-operator. I'm gonna go ahead and call out one of the other YouTubers. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. He's the guy that kind of talked trash about Shelby. So, you know, it's recently come out that he's a lease purchase operator, Well, I'm going to tell you right now, whenever I saw his original video about becoming an owner-operator, everything that he described, I knew he was a lease purchase operator, but it was not in, it's not in my best interest to kind of step my foot in the drama pool. It's not in my best interest to call somebody out when they're lying about things. I knew he was, but you know what? That's between him and his audience, unfortunately. But guess what? Everything always comes to light. So, if you're a lease purchase owner operator, you're not an owner operator. Don't kid yourself. You're just a glorified company driver at the end of the day, period. And also, if you're on YouTube, probably shouldn't be lying to your audience. I mean, I'm just going to say that. And by the way, don't reach out to me again. I have absolutely zero inclination for you to be in my circle of friends. My circle of friends are very honorable, and I love each and every one of them. And I'm sorry, but you're never welcome. Anyway, lease purchase, you need to understand lease purchasing and owner operator are definitely two entirely different things. What I mean by that glorified glorified company driver, I don't mean offense to anybody. It kind of is what it is. You don't get to decide when and where and how you run. You don't get to decide any of those things. Sure, some are better than others. Don't take everything that I say as solid 100% set in stone. But for the most part, you're gonna have a choice between a few loads that you get to run to, and you really have to take one of those things. Also, they require you to maintain the truck at certain intervals. They require you to do certain things at certain intervals. And those are good things. It teaches you how to be an owner-operator. It at least teaches you kind of the fundamentals, kind of the basics. So if you're gonna do something like being a lease purchase owner-operator, make sure that you get into one that has a 100% walk-away lease. If you don't do that, you're gonna be stuck, and if you have a big breakdown, which you're almost guaranteed to do, you're gonna be screwed. So don't do that to yourself. If you're gonna get into it, make sure it's a 100% walk-away lease. I cannot stress this enough. Have somebody look at it, double check it, make sure it's a 100% walk-away lease, and make sure the payments aren't astronomical. If the payments are astronomical, then, what's the point? If it's $1,000 a week, that's too much. If they're $800 a week, in my opinion, that's too much. You're talking about $800, just a 4-week month. That's $2,400. Oh, I can't even math right now. That's $3,200 a month. That's outrageous. If you watch one of my other videos, you'll know that I don't recommend getting into a payment more than about $1,800 a month, especially for your first truck. So if you're considering being a lease purchase operator, make sure it is a walk-away lease 100%. Another thing to consider whenever you're looking to be a lease purchase operator is, does this company, do they employ company drivers? If so, I'm gonna point something out for you that maybe you just haven't thought about. Well, it would be bad business for a company to give their best loads to owner-operators rather than company drivers. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I don't care how family-oriented they are, I don't care how nice they are. It would be a bad business decision for them to give their best loads to somebody that they don't make the most money on. That would just be dumb, and I promise you, they didn't get to that position being dumb. So they're gonna tell you all of these different things. They're gonna tell you, oh, you're gonna get the best loads. Oh, you don't compete with the company drivers. Oh, they run these certain type of loads over here. It's lies. They're lying to you. They make absolutely the most money off of lease purchase operators. They get to make a huge profit, a huge percentage of the profit, with absolutely the least, what's the word I'm looking for? Least risk. They have hardly any risk, because when you're a lease purchase operator, you are essentially paying for usually almost everything that an owner operator pays for. Why would you want to do that in order to compete with company drivers for loads? That being said, if you're an owner operator, consider that too. it blows my mind whenever people enter lease purchase contracts at places that also have company drivers. It's very, very poor business. Please don't make this one. That's a huge, huge mistake. And just don't do it. And finally, one of the things that I want to talk about is there is a difference between leasing a truck and being a lease purchase operator from a company. This spot has been dead literally all day long until I turned the camera on. And now it feels like there's hundreds of trucks swarming around. It's crazy. And finally, understand that there is a difference between leasing a truck and being a lease purchase operator. Actually, leasing the truck means that you are 100% responsible for that truck. You went out and you sought that type of contract, and now you can take that truck and you can lease it on wherever you want to go. When you're a lease purchase operator, you are leasing a truck from a company. You don't have really much choice in what truck you want to get. Sure, there might be 10 of those lined up and you say, oh, I want that one, but it's not like leasing a truck. When you lease a truck, you can look at their entire inventory. You can say, yeah, I want that one. And then most of the time, you're not required to run it at a certain place. But the lease purchase is going to come directly from a company. And I cannot stress this enough. Understand that lease purchases make those companies the most profit out of anybody, out of company drivers, and certainly out of owner-operators. There's a reason that they want to push you into these things. A lot of these mega carriers, they're going to try to push you into a lease operator position within the first 6 months of you being at the company, even maybe a year. But I've seen people go directly into lease purchases, and this is a disaster. You don't even understand how to do the job properly, much less how to do it efficiently while at the same time running a business. It's an art to being profitable while you're owning the truck, while you're making the payments on it, while you're paying for the maintenance, while you're doing all of these things. So please, I beg you, please do not jump into one of these things. If you are considering being a lease purchase operator, please do it for a very, very short amount of time, just to kind of get your feet wet, maybe 3 months. Make sure that it's a walk-away lease, and make sure that you do not have high bills. If you have high obligations outside of this and you have to make a certain amount of money, just for the love of God, don't do it, please. They're so detrimental. All of the other YouTubers, I'm not going to say all of them, the majority of the other YouTubers, the ones that have half a brain, they tell you not to do lease purchases, and they certainly don't lie about it. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. But as always, stay driven.